So today I want to talk about specifically storytelling because I see you guys in your stories. Sometimes you guys are sharing just like resharing your post, but not giving it any kind of context. Or you're talking to the camera, but again, there's no context. And one thing I want to say, if you are talking to the camera, always add captions because majority of people, I would say 95, 99% people listen with their sound, watch with their sound off. So you want to always make sure that you have captions. So we'll go into that today. And so the goal is that way you can start feeling and being able to show up confidently in your stories. And before we dive in really quickly, did everyone get the email with like the questions to answer for yourself? Did everyone fill that out? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay, and just have it as a reference because there's going to be an assignment and homework and a challenge for the rest of the week going into next week. And so today, what you're going to learn is the 5 types of story content that you need to sell your offer or just to show up in your content. And it's not really coming across as salesy either. A sales script structure with examples, how to continuously have high engagement on your stories so people will keep watching, and then different ways that you can consistently show up even if you don't feel like it. So as I was mentioning, context is the biggest thing that you want to focus on. So just like when you're posting, you have a purpose when you post, you have a goal, you have a desired outcome. And that's what you want to think about. So it's like, okay, are you nurturing your audience? Are you promoting to your audience? Are you looking to grow with your audience? And the people that are in your stories, those are usually your most loyal people because they follow you, but then they also are looking to engage and learn and connect with you. And so the triggers that are required to cause and lead people to happily pay for your offer or actually opt into your freebie or join your group and really get them off the platform. So these are things that you want to keep in mind. So likability, as you know, like, and trust. Authority, like you are the person that you say you are within your industry. Trust, because before people buy from you, they need to feel like they can trust you with, their vulnerabilities. Feel safe. Relatability. Oftentimes you probably choose to work with a coach because they're relatable in some way. They're a woman, they're a mom, they're biracial, they wear glasses, like they have a dog, they love cats, like, something just might stand out about that person. And so you want to think about like, what are things about you, what we're going to talk about, that makes you relatable. They want to feel like they belong. And then you also want to add the element of like missing out. Like you see all these people are getting healed and you're like, I need that healing. Or you see all these people their brand is taking off. I want my brand to take off. Like, I don't want to miss out on that. And then get them to actually take action. So the most important element that connects everything together is the storytelling. And so some of you, I do see use a little bit of it, but there's ways to insert it in a deeper way. And then the key after that is consistency. So you don't want to like show up on Monday and then you're posting through the week, but then you're not actually showing up in your stories. Because again, that's how people are going to connect with you the most. And so the 5 essential types of content that you need to be posting on a daily basis are going to be the 5 that we're going to talk about today. Does anyone have any questions so far? And I did want to do just a poll real quickly. How often, by raise of hands, are you guys showing up in your stories at least 5 times a week? I would say Monday through Friday minimum. After today, the goal is like the rest of the week, based off everything you'll get today, you will be showing up and there's going to be examples that you guys will get to. And also feel free at any time if you feel like you're getting a gem or a bar. I would love it if you take a screenshot, like snap a picture, post it in your stories and tag me. I would love that. So there's anywhere throughout this presentation. Okay, so number 1 is going to be transparency. Okay, and then Lee, I saw you said you're showing up and not themed. Yeah, we'll talk about that today. So transparency content, what that means, that's where you're going to have the relatability and likability. So this is where you're saying, this is who I am, this is how it's relatable to you. This is who I am, this is how it's relatable to you. And so what you would want to do is choose 3 to 5 parts of your life. Like that doesn't even have to be necessarily related to your business, but it's a part of who you are. It shares your values, your morals, your belief. And again, there's context behind it. you want to be as vulnerable as you're comfortable as being without being like a hot mess. Like, you ever seen those Facebook posts where people put like all their business out there? And it's like, okay, we don't need to know all that. So there's a limit to what to actually share. And you want to think about like you're talking to your girlfriend, but not all the nitty-gritty stuff, or something, but not something like that's what I'm saying. Like, you're talking to your girlfriend, but not all the nitty-gritty stuff. Okay. So here are some just examples. So for me, as you guys might see, I'm very big on family, my son, health and fitness. I emphasize being a mom and entrepreneur, and then talking about how I loved like the flexibility. And then I might ask questions like, what do you love most? And then people who might respond, I'll go and have a conversation with them. And sometimes when people do respond, you can like share it in your stories. But these are just some examples of transparency content. Me, I like to cook. I like to have a like occasional glass of wine and have downtime. But also, as you notice, I'm putting like some engaging things. I'm asking questions like me making myself lunch. Again, me with my son, or oh my gosh, I have to, my whole day is thrown off because I have to go get my son. Can anyone relate to this? And some like other mom entrepreneurs might reach out, and then we're just having a conversation in the DM. And then also like vulnerability content. So me sharing like, I'm burnt out, I'm exhausted, I'm having anxiety. Like, do you have anxiety? I'm going through, a business storm right now. Are you going through a business storm? And so forth. And then also storytelling. So talking about your personal story. So if you haven't taken the time in your highlights, not no highlights, we're going to talk about later, but if you haven't taken the time to occasionally just talk about your day or what you're going through, or your story of how you achieved X to get to Y. Like, I know some of your guys' stories, like, how did you become a healer? Why did you start getting into fitness? Why are you so passionate about storytelling? Or why are you so passionate about nutrition? Like, talk to your audience, but then also, work to tie it back into your business. So like here, I was talking about content, my content before, my content moving forward, what I learned. I talked about a group. I'll share behind the scenes of me in my coaching sessions, and then also emphasize on some of the strategies I use that actually work, and then giving social proof like, hey, this is working. This is how you use this, a call to action, but it's all also in tying in the transparency piece. And then here's an actual live one of the day. So I was doing the storytelling, and then I led into how that turned into an actual sale, how it turned into a client. And some of you guys might see examples from your guys' self in here, just giving you guys a heads up. But as you see, I'm asking questions like, it doesn't matter how big or small your audience size is, you only need to connect with one person. Then I'm talking about how what going live does. I'm asking my audience, would they love to learn this too? And then polls are really powerful because when people respond to those polls, now you can go and have a conversation with them. Then I'm giving actual screenshots and proof of conversations and the content pieces that are connecting and converting and how it does so. Does that make sense of transparency? Does anyone have questions here? Okay. So now that you understand transparency content, next is documentation. And what documentation content is that's what's going to build credibility and trust with your audience. So you're saying, I do what I say I do. So this is more so like the behind the scenes content. So it's pretty simple. You'll just choose things that are actually just happening in your day on a day-to-day basis. Maybe you're going for a walk, you're meal prepping, you're creating a freebie guide for storytelling for your offer. You're having a nutrition coaching session with one of your clients. Maybe you're picking up Instacart from the door because you like the flexibility of like, as a busy entrepreneur, you don't have time to go to the grocery store and so forth. And so it's just creating context and documenting your day. And so examples of this, very simple. I might do like, hey, Tuesday, this is what's on my agenda today. What's on your agenda today? Or I'm just finishing up a coaching call. This is what we talked about. And here I'm shooting content. I'm batching content for the week. I just finished going live. How often do you go live? Focusing on DM conversations. How often are you having those conversations in the DM? So I'm documenting exactly what I'm doing. And this is what I say, and this is what I teach. Then I'm also asking questions to understand my audience. What do they need? What are they looking for? What are they struggling with? And again, that is the goal, is to use those conversations, get them in the DM, understand your audience more. And then just, again, more examples, shooting content, working out. But as you see, it's very, very similar. It's just a different day. But another day, this is what I'm doing today. This is today's agenda, me working out. So, and it's nothing too complex. And then again, you can tie that into leading to social proof, and then working to attract leads. So this is an example of a day. So I talked about, hey, I woke up really early. These are my morning affirmations. Do you, are you blessed to wake up today? This is my agenda today. And then context behind a post. So not only do I want you to share your carousel or your post, but then after you post it, go ahead and talk about it. Add some context, like what does it mean? What's the story behind it? So I shared some slides, some social proof. I talked about what she was doing before, what she was doing after, implementing the strategies we've discussed and that she's learned. And then I share another slide, showing this is exactly how, and following up in the DMs. I'm asking a question to my audience, and then a call to action, a specific call to action. Hey, if you're struggling with this, if you want to achieve this, comment results. And when you're doing polls, you either want like a yes, yes, or like a yes, no. So I might say results, but then also please help. Because either way, you can still reach out to in the DMs and have a conversation. Any questions here about documentation content? Okay.
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question about documentation. So I love the idea of like behind the scenes. I guess I'm trying to like take notes here on what I would ask questions to understand my audience. What are some kind of go-to questions that you would ask your audience to kind of
when you're asking, so when you're asking questions, you always want to think about questions that tie into your offer. So like I'll ask about like content, possibly maybe systems and automation, planning, DM conversations, showing up on camera. So things that I know that are things that I offer within my programs and how I can help someone as a solution. So those are the questions you want to ask, because it's almost also like you're vetting them to see if they're even qualified, if this is a need, if this is a pain point, if this is a struggle, if this is a goal that they have. So I know yours is branding. So you might ask something on, do you feel like your brand message is clear, or is it all over the place? Oh, I feel like I would love a brand audit. Or I think it is, or what does that mean? So that's a question you can ask. I'm trying to think of what else. Like think about what's in the art of branding, what people need, and then like what's a question that your audience might be thinking or asking. And you can also think of what are questions that your audience has asked you from calls that you have. You can take some of those common responses or pain points and then turn it into a question for your audience to then also answer. And even with polls, do this, like ask your audience a question. And if no one's actually responding, I have another account, like I have my 2 accounts, and then go and actually respond as your client, because sometimes people are in your stories and they just won't ask. They actually have questions, but they won't ask. And then you actually answer the question, and it's actually what they are thinking, but they didn't ask. And then you take that and then you answer it for them. Like you pop it on the screen. Hey, I see X and X, such and such just asked this. That's a great question. And then you coach on it in your stories. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Welcome. And so now you have transparency, documentation, and community. So community content is where your audience will still feel safe, like they belong. Like, okay, we're in this together. This is a safe place. And this is also another form of connection with your audience. So it can be something really random. Like let me talk, sorry, train of thought. But you want to think about what is your community experiencing? And so that kind of goes back into what I was just explaining to you, Leah, like what are their questions? And this is when you might use language like we or us, like we as entrepreneurs, da 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 da. We as, I remember when I was looking to lose my first 10 pounds, things like that, where it's like, I'm looking to lose 10 pounds too. And you want to make them feel like they're in the right place and in a way that like right now is something that's related to what they're looking for. And so you can ask anything about if having them ask questions about your offer or your services if they're unclear, and then decide something again from your offer to then talk about, but in a way that's most of us, like most people think that you don't need to eat carbs if you want to, drop body fat. And then always add stickers and to get people to the DM. So examples, I'm saying like, please don't do this. Has this ever happened to you? Or some of you shared this, you feel pressure daily to post. And then I asked a question like, hey, if you have a business, why aren't you posting more? And then, hey, this is how I feel. So people are responding, and it's like as a group, as a community. Again, me showing documentation of like day in the life. Are you getting your income producing activities done? Asking questions. Like when's the last time you did a time audit? Like I was talking about how I did a time audit, how it was transformational for me. Have you ever done a time audit? People were like, what's a time audit? Oh, I do them all the time. No, I need to do one. Talking about what's it like as an entrepreneur, what people think versus what it really is. And then again, just always, and if you notice, there's always some kind of engagement, poll, question, bubble, because I'm wanting to have conversations with my audience, asking questions. And then when I ask questions, possibly sharing their responses, because as a community, someone else might have limiting beliefs. Someone else might feel like they're losing their career and they're needing to start over again, wanting to keep an open mind. So someone else in your community might also be experiencing those same things. So there's that sense of belonging. Does that make sense? Are there any questions here? Okay. Next is the creation content. So this is going to be more of the higher conversion content that makes people want to buy your offer. And so if you guys notice, we'll go over this too, that with your branding, you want to infuse your brand in your story. So the colors, the fonts, like use the similar fonts, pop up your logo, pop up graphics, have a stockpile of images of just like photos of yourself that you put transparency over, like a transparent color over based off your brand, and ask questions. And then you want it to have layers, which we'll talk about in a little bit too. And so with high converting content, it's conversational. So conversational problem aware content starts conversations. You talk about your own story or a client story, case studies and social proof. And then you offer and introduce like, these are your pain points, these are your struggles, these are your desires to your audience. And you call them out. So examples, again, I'll do a time like, hey, this is what I'm doing today. What's on your agenda? And then lead into, what would you love me to discuss about going live? So if your question like, hey, I know I want to go live every week, what should I talk about? You do a poll, but it's all things that you know that you are an expert in that leads to your offers, that your audience is saying, I need help with this. I need a recipe for creating content that converts. I need to understand how to hire a team, or I need some business systems. So anyone who is answering these polls, yeah, you can go live on that, but they're also telling you this is a struggle point for them. So that also tells you this is possible content that you can also create. And then I talked about, hey, have you guys checked out this new AI? Like there's AI everywhere. I personally like to use Notion. And as I'm talking about Notion, I'm leading into my offer. So there was a strategy. This is what I'm talking about. It's leading into my offer. Who would love help with this? Oh my gosh, I need this. And then graphics, having graphics of your offer. Hey, did you know that this is what it includes? Here are some case studies and testimonials, testimonial, then leading into, this is a breakdown of what you get. Here, you can access it here. Do you have any questions? So it started off as a documentation, and then it was leading into an offer without me saying, hey, you need to buy this. So it doesn't come across salesy at all. It's just injecting, this is what you're struggling with. This is what you asked for. This is your solution. Here's your option to join. Does that make sense? Okay. And then number 5 is serving and selling content. So this is more of a direct sell in a way, but you still won't need to come across as salesy. So the goal with this kind of content is to activate your audience to want to buy, and then have that fear of missing out because they'll see other people's success and they want that success too. So you're going to bridge them from a viewer to a buyer with your offer. And so this is you, again, directly talking about your offer. How many of you, by like raising of hands, are confident and comfortable talking about your offer? Okay, Leah. Okay, I saw Deidre, Nitra. Okay, Lacey, Marsha, and Latanya. I didn't see you guys raise your hand. Okay, Marsha, if you're kind of. Lacey, did you raise your hand? Okay, I think it might be frozen. But okay, but so you want to be confident in talking about your offer. And if you're not, talk about it every day when no one's around. Like talk about it through the house, talk about it in the mirror, talk about it to yourself, write it down, practice it. You want to, because at the end of the day, your offer is a piece of you. It's you. And you shouldn't have any, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you know how you help your audience. Like you've had clients who've seen results. So you know it works. And so if you ever feel like, oh, I'm an imposter, I haven't transformed 100 or 1,000 people yet, that doesn't matter. If you just helped one client, usually you are your own client. Like if you helped and transformed yourself, you know what you do and how you can serve and how you can help them. And you want to keep it relevant because basically you want to answer the so what question. Okay, so what? Why should I buy from you? Okay. You want to tease your offer. You want to always have call to actions throughout your stories. Offer details, insert their struggles, their desires, free value, offer like, hey, if there's a payment, you can drop that in there. Again, social proof, and then how can they work with you right now? And that's why, again, your CTAs are ways that how can they work with you right now? So here's some examples. This is an actual example thread that I did on a day. So again, I had my content piece, but there was context in the content piece, but then I already had a strategy of the purpose of how I wanted to tie it into my stories. So instead of just sharing this, hey, go tap here, I went to tell a story. So this one, if your dream clients aren't buying, this may be why you're not inviting them. So how can people know to buy your offer if you never talk about your offer? If you never invite them to buy your offer, you just expect them to go to the link in your bio. You just expect them to reach out to you in the DM. Sometimes people will if your content and your messaging is dialed in. Then I took a screenshot. This is the exact strategy that I use to do just this. Give an example of how I invite them to my group. Do you have a Facebook group? Question. Then I go into example. This is the Facebook group. This is the video. I invited them. There's a specific call to action on the video. Then they comment on that action. I invited them, and see there's some layering here. Then I'm talking about an actual coaching call where I'm talking about this exact same thing. Screenshot of social proof. Hey, was this helpful? Would you love this kind of framework? And so I'm not saying, oh, hey, here, go buy this. It's always to get them in the DM, because links are great, but links, you can't track links. You don't know who's clicking it, where are they going after it. But when people are clicking this, you know exactly who's clicking, who's having the conversation, who's engaging, who's even hearting. You can go and have conversations with them if you're not already working with them. Another example, again, sharing a content piece and then layering, talking about a story, sharing a story. This is how, hey, would you love results? DM results. It's a very short story, but again, it's direct, it's specific. Okay. Another example, I just have lots of examples. I was talking about, hey, I'm not going live today, but hey, go check out this video. Some people actually, DM'd me about this video, which turned into a conversation. Then I'm like, hey, check out this social proof. I talked about the before, the after, and then shared screenshots, conversations. I talked about, hey, what the keys are. I'm currently looking for this many people. Is that you? Okay. Any questions here so far? Is this
I
making
have a
sense?
quick,
Mhm.
yeah, it's making great sense. Sorry, I have a quick question. I'm so full of them. I love your use of screenshotting DMs. Do you ever have that backfire? Like
Well,
for
no,
some
so
reason,
I
like,
so I like to usually I'll ask people for permission. Like, hey, is it okay if I have a conversation and they're talking about Wednesday stuff, is it okay if I share this with my audience? Oh yeah, no, go
okay,
ahead. Okay.
okay. So just kind of asking for their permission. Because
Yeah.
like I love the use of that, but then I'm always finding myself hesitant because I don't want them to feel like I'm just using them or anything like
Yeah,
that.
and
So
at the end
I
of the
get that.
day, if it is tied to like an outcome you're teaching your people, or just like even social proof because it's a win, they obviously believe in you and what you do, and I believe that they will support. Like this is helping your business, so it's not like you're using them. You're not using them. You are basically just leveraging and showing your audience, hey, because some of these screenshots, you guys are in these screenshots, okay? So when you guys are in my stories, you sometimes see yourself. And it's not like I'm using you, it's just I'm sharing social proof. Hey, this is how I do it. This is what works.
Yeah,
So
and like I've never had an issue with it. I always think it's really relatable. But
yeah.
I was just curious if you ever had any instance where someone was like, "How dare you?"
Yeah, no, I've never had that happen. Yeah, I've never experienced that personally.
That's good.
Yeah. So social proof is the new word of mouth. So, back in the day, you had brick and mortar possibly, or most people were in person. So you would verbally talk about to someone like, oh my gosh, have you worked with Nutra? She is amazing when it comes to nutrition. Like I know exactly what I need to buy. I know how to cook my meals. It's taken less than 15 minutes. You need to work with her. So someone might tell their girlfriend, but they also told you, like they're telling you, Nutra, like Nutra, you changed my life. Take that audio, put it in your stories, because people can hear from you like, hey, this is how great my program is. But it doesn't really resonate until Samantha says, this is how great her program is. Automatically, when they're listening to Samantha's story, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm experiencing the same thing as Samantha. I need that. So you want to think about that. So use it. So again, I've been using Akani lately because he really just experienced an amazing win. Like he was struggling for months. He finally not narrowed it down. And so I was so excited when he shared it with me. I was like, oh my gosh, can I share this with everyone? He's like, yeah, no, go ahead. So I specifically had a live about, weathering the storm. And then I was talking about my personal storm, which is my personal story. And then I talked about Akani's personal storm and his story. So I talked about his growth, what he experiences, what he went through, screenshots, layering, testimonial, and then a call to action. If this is you, and I have different ones. So even if they didn't do results, and even if they're like, this was very helpful, thank you so much, or I needed to hear this, I still go and reach out to them and have a conversation. It could still lead somewhere. And then here are more. So verbal testimonial on audio, screenshots, screenshots of like sharing the exact post that got her the results, sharing again before and afters, social proof. Okay, and you're telling a story as you're sharing the social proof. Is this making sense to everyone? Okay. So to break everything down, you have your transparency content, which is giving you that relatable likability, your documentation content, credibility and trust, community, belonging and safety. This is going to help you get leads, people raising their hand. And I'm not sure if I'll share this, but I recommend you should have a spreadsheet of where you're tracking your conversations every day. So people that you're constantly having conversations with and you want to be taking notes, where are they at? So you can come back, like maybe a couple of days have gone by, you haven't heard from them. You can come back and maybe earlier in the week, they were talking about their kids, or they're going on vacation, or they had a birthday. You just follow like, hey, I hope you had a great birthday weekend with the family. How was it? Just having a genuine conversation like you're having with a friend. Because at the end of the day, you're working to build a rapport and a relationship. And when they feel like, oh, this person actually cares about me, I would like to work with them. You know, if they're thinking about a coach, they're going to want to reach out to you. And then the creation and serve and sell, that's the anticipation and authority. That's the activation and the fear of missing out. That's what leads to sales. So here is the exact like script based on psychology. Let me move this thing out the way. Okay, so first you want to arouse and trigger curiosity and hooks. That's when you do like a call out in the beginning, like, hey, is this you? Or have you ever felt like this? You're basically getting people to like raise their hand and like spark up their ears, like, oh, you're speaking to me. Then you present the struggle, the pain point, the desire, and you weave in storytelling. Like, all my life, I have struggled with anxiety. And then I realized that I had some really traumatic experiences as a child with my father. And this is what led to this. I led to alcoholism, drug abuse. I gained weight, and I was at the verge of being diabetic until this happened. And then this is what happened. This is how I overcame that. Then you're showcasing your solution. Okay. These are the consequences if I would have stayed in that same place. Who knows where I would be? But this is what I did. And currently, my program is this. This is what it includes. But you're not listing the features, you're listing the outcome and the transformation and the result that your offer is delivering. I'm looking for 5 more women who are looking to achieve X. If that's you, comment this. Does that make sense? Okay, so these are just strictly examples here. So, so slide 1, the biggest myth about prenatal healthcare right now. Do you know what that is? Pregnant women shouldn't exercise. Isn't that silly? Slide 2. You want to know the truth? I work with pregnant clients all day long. And when I was pregnant, I was looking to stay fit and healthy during pregnancy. But many are worried that exercise might harm their baby. And what really helps is when you exercise while pregnant, you feel more confident, you feel energized. And my prenatal exercise program is tailored to meet your needs, your lifestyle, your fitness level. And then you, again, amplifying the struggle. If you want to stay healthy and strong during pregnancy, you need to do this. You need to stop believing that exercise is unsafe. You need to stop trying exercise you've seen on the internet or these quick fixes. You need to stop ignoring your body changes and accept your growing belly. And you need to start listening to your body to create a safe exercise routine and stay healthy during your pregnancy. This will also help with, having a natural birth, aid in postpartum recovery. You'll recover faster. Slide 4. Because when you exercise safely and effectively during pregnancy, you'll feel more energy, less fatigue, reduce risk of gestational diabetes, stay strong and healthy for you and your baby, and bounce back faster. So again, you're showcasing the solution, your offer. So you, in a way, like you're embedding, like these are things that your pregnancy program will help. And then slide 5, scarcity and your offer. So if you're needing a safe and effective prenatal exercise program in your life, I have a very special opportunity for you. Introducing my prenatal fitness program, designed specifically for pregnant women who want to stay healthy and strong during pregnancy, with personalized coaching and support so you can feel confident and energized through your pregnancy and beyond. You don't want to miss out on this opportunity. I'm looking for 5 more women looking to join. Join at the link below, or if that's you, I need this. That's me. Where can I sign up? No thanks. People will come, people will click. And then you go into, I recommend, this is optional, but having another slide, and that's where you might have like your graphics of everything that's inside, which is kind of like you're giving them a visual of everything that they're getting. And then this is what happens when you prioritize your health. You insert testimonials. This is Sarah. This is her working out as a pregnancy, and this is her testimonial. Like screenshots, and then another call to action. Does that make sense? Okay. And then here's just some examples. You saw these earlier. So example, arousing and triggering curiosity. I'm asking questions, talking to my audience. And then I'm coming here, some details. So I'm inserting graphics. This is what you're getting, XYZ, social proof. Again, presenting and amplifying the struggle. This is before, this is what you're experiencing. Then showing social proof, that's activating like, okay, FOMO, oh my gosh, I want to experiencing that. Social proof, call to action. Again, just another example. Hook, present pain and struggle. This is where you are now. This is where you want to be. This is how you're going to get there. I'm looking for 5 more people. Again, another example. FOMO, which is basically just social proof, taking screenshots of me actually saying, hey, comment, convert, DM me, convert. Here are actual screenshots of people taking action because I'm using a call to action and I'm having conversations in the DM. More social proof, a graphic of the offer, and then, hey, do you want to learn more? 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 Okay. Okay, and then here are some specific strategies for highly engaging content. So you'll see similar stories, but this is just now me breaking it down. So layering your stories builds anticipation. So this is an example of layering. I have the first slide, take a screenshot, I share it again, add a transparent color, and then I talk about, story and context. Then screenshot, not screenshot, then I share testimonial. Hey, so you see there's layering. So just add content so that doesn't make the story boring. They have to keep going. And then keep it short. You want your audience to be reading. So again, if you're talking, always have captions for people to read. Always use some bubbles and question marks. And then it's good to, if you're doing any talking, you want to break it up. You don't want to have 5 and 6 videos of you just talking. So I might talk, question, talk, graphic. Does that make sense? So you're breaking it up. And then engaging text, hooks, colors, fonts, white space. So use your branding, brand colors, polls, white space. So again, layering, there's some white space, and then there's the next slide. And then hook them in. So does anyone have questions?
That like, how do you do that on Instagram story?
Yeah. So I'm going to share with you, I created a workbook for you guys with all this information in there. And there's a link where I share, like, this is how you do it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And then, so you don't want to just share your stories once, you want to allow people to follow your journey. So maybe it's like, hey, would this be helpful for you? So this is like the day before and everyone's like, yeah, this is extremely helpful. And then the next day I go into more about this. So it's like I let a loop of 24 hours go by before I start talking about it. Or it's like, maybe you have an offer coming. Who wants to learn about this sneak peek now, today, tomorrow, next week? Oh, I need to learn about it today, or I need to learn about it tomorrow. Whatever they tell you, that's when you share. So if like, oh, I want to, I can wait till tomorrow. So then tomorrow is when you share. Does that make sense? And then disruptive content. So things that move your viewers. So you might be going about your business day and then you insert like your morals, your values, what you love to do, what you love to watch. Maybe you are a basketball fan and you talk about like, oh, I'm watching the NBA finals right now. Who's your team? Just random things like that. Again, this is mine, but you want to insert yours. Like, what makes Leah Leah that nobody else knows about? Show your boys more often. You have 2 sons, you're a mom. Like Lacey, you live in beautiful Mexico on the beach. Like just incite yourself. And like Latanya, you're a mom too. And I think you have 3 boys. So let your audience in on that. Like maybe you're cooking for them. Maybe you guys are going to the park. Just share that randomly and through the day. And then polls and stickers and emojis. If you can, you just have to be on every slide, but tap, question, slider, poll, response. to get people engaging. So the goal is you want to keep it simple as possible, but always have context behind every story. So just want to think about, okay, what are you posting today? What's the outcome you're looking to get on that post? If you're looking for people to grab your freebie, or if you're looking for people to join your program, or if you're looking for people to join your masterclass, you share a post, obviously that post is to promote that masterclass, that freebie, and then give context about that post in your stories using this framework. And again, there are multiple ways to share and sell your offer without putting on a show. And then this is just, again, an example. So, hey, social proof, I'm in. Would you be interested in all of this? Can you relate to any of the following? Can you relate? And it's layering, and then call to action. And so when you do start creating stories like this, you want to add it to your story highlights. So you'll have a story highlight. Any offer you have, you want to have a highlight about that offer. Any social proof you have, add that to your social proof highlight. Anything about you or things you're passionate about, like Lacey, you're a DJ highlight, because it's a part of who you are, you DJ. Or I think Nitra, you did a body competition before. I don't know if you still ever compete or do anything like that, but even maybe just like, you know, your personal lifestyle that's about you, a highlight about that. So people can go see like, oh wow, man, she's in her 40s and she's looking like this. Okay, there's no excuse for me. I'm only 25, or I'm only 35, you know, things like that.
We're doing one right now.
Yeah. So yeah, and talk about that when you're training, what you're eating, what your meal prepping is. And so your homework, I'm going to go over the workbook here in a second, but the rest of the week, hopefully you guys already have like a content game. Like, okay, I know what I'm posting the rest of the week. I know what the outcome is for the rest of the week. You want to think about, okay, what story can you now share behind the scenes based off that content piece that you're posting in your story. So you create the post, post it in your story, and then you want to create a storyline about that with a specific call to action leading to one of your offers, your freebie, your Facebook group, your actual coaching program. And you don't have to necessarily say, buy my coaching program, but by the questions that you ask, and people are saying, and they're raising their hands, you have the conversation in the DM, like, oh my goodness, you're speaking to me. That's exactly what I need. And so if you have any questions or anything, open up to questions here in a second, and then share your wins. If you want to share like your story timeline, hey, like save your timeline, drop it in the Facebook group. What do you think? What do you think of this? How did I do? I know Deidre, she had a story the other day. She's like, I was following your framework that we talked about. What did you think? And it was great. So, and I just gave her a couple feedback, you know, and so if you want feedback, like, hey, what did you think of this? Drop in the Facebook group, or tell me like, hey, I just did this story today. Can you go check it out? Okay. So it's at the end of the day, the goal is to share and tell your story consistently with confidence. Okay. Any questions here before I go into the workbook? No. Okay. Let me open it up so I can share with you guys. A second. Okay. So I have it in Google Drive and in PDF. And so let me share this. Okay, so I turned it into a PDF too. So these are prompts and templates for you guys to use. And so these prompts are to give you inspiration of what to do and how to do it. Excuse me. So, excuse me. And so, Lacey, you're like, hey, here's their example. So I have created Facebook posts where like you can do your brand colors. Let me see. I know you guys can't probably see this. Hold on. Let me go. Hold on. Let me stop this. Trying to. What do you guys see right now? The PDF? Okay. So I just wanted to share this really quickly, because for those of you who guys don't know, I'll drop this in the chat real quick, just so you can see. But there is a example here. of how to add the transparency on your guys' stories. It's pretty simple, but you just go to the highlight color in your stories, and then you choose whatever color you want it to be. You click on that, you hold down on the screen, and it will change your screen to that color. And so I recommend splitting information up over 2 to 3 slides just to offer context. And then in this document, IC is related to ideal client. And then some of the examples, they're strictly just examples that I just made up. Okay, so don't take it anything literal, but some of them you guys can actually use, because there's some like nutrition and fitness stuff in here that you guys could probably just take like, oh, I like that, let me use it. So transparency content, just going into share a part of your morning, share a story, share the way you do something, share your mantras, etc. Things that are related to your ideal client. Documentation, behind the scenes, record a conversation of you having a call with your clients, a Reiki session, anything, just document that and make sure to add polls. You at the coffee shop, you going for a walk, anything that you can think of. Community content, ask questions, quiz your audience, polls, hey, this looks like this. I have a question for you. Do you ever X? Yes, all the time, sometimes, okay. Creation content. Host like, hey, get ready for me. Hey, this is how I get ready to when I'm shooting my content, or I'm getting ready for a brand shoot. Like I'm about to shoot some pictures today for this company. I'm getting ready to make this meal plan for this client. This is how I do it. This is what I look for. These are the questions that I ask, XYZ. And then serve and sell. This is really key. Always, 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 always have strong calls to actions when you're looking to direct people to go somewhere. Ideally to the DMs. So that's why the polls are really, really powerful. This is where you share testimonials. And again, it's a breakdown of different ideas of how to do that. And then these are just example templates. So transparency content, do a boomerang, how to do it, layer, and then example. I'm so grateful for slow mornings with my 2-year-old. If you had told me 4 years ago, I'd be sipping coffee covered up in the blanket with him at 10 a.m. on Tuesday while making hundreds an hour, I wouldn't believe you. So these are just examples. But I think I have one of I put one in here of a fitness related, but there's just literal examples of you breaking down the transparency content, the documentation content, and so forth. Let me see, I'm trying to find the fitness one. Okay, this is a fitness and lifestyle specifically for ADHD, so that's really niche down, speaking to a specific audience. Okay, whether or not you have a diagnosis of ADHD, or maybe you can like high blood pressure. You may have heard that there has been a recent blank about high blood pressure. I recently read an article about X, and then you might share your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this in regards to blood pressure? Have you been struggling with blood pressure? Da, 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 da. And of course, my DMs are always open. If you have any questions or thoughts about this, what questions do you have? Okay, I was just throwing that out there because Anitra, I know you focus on blood pressure. Nutrition coach, screenshot of a DM that says, hey, oh my gosh, I feel like I've tried everything and I can't shift my weight. Or like, oh girl, I haven't gone to the bathroom in a couple of days. Is that normal? Then you come in here like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. You guys are so silly. How many of you guys feel like it's normal to go to the bathroom every 3 days? People are raising their hands. And they're like, do you know that? Da, 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 da. Here's the solution. So that way you can start having regular bowel movements. Again, this is speaking to your audience directly, and then a slide. This is what weight loss isn't. This is what weight loss is. It's not just eating a bunch of healthy foods. There's specific foods. These are the foods you want to avoid. These are the foods you want to actually enjoy. DM me this word and I'll send you my mindset program. So mindset related to nutrition, but like how to have a better relationship with food. Something like that. Yeah, no, Nitri, it's okay if you jump off, but essentially this just goes into more and more and more examples, okay? Just for you guys to reference, to get to pull ideas from and actually use. And so this is gonna be in the portal. You guys already have your workbook. I'll also include a link to like a Google Doc, and then I'll also drop the PDF PowerPoint presentation in there as well for you guys to reference. And so the goal is like start using this evening, or go ahead and tomorrow, like, okay, I have a busy day tomorrow, capture some behind the scene content today, you working on your computer, you working on your phone, you doing anything, and then tie in your storytelling element leading to an offer. Does that make sense to everyone? So I did just want to ask really quickly, what were some of your biggest takeaways today from this training?